storms.
All right, thanks a lot, George. Yeah, they have. And it started earlier today. There's actually a warm front that's near Palm Coast, as I analyzed it earlier today. It's right up here to the north. I'll let you know we're in halftime of the basketball game. We're going to continue with our live coverage. Tornado warning out in effect. We're watching some isolated, pretty heavy cells. You won't miss any of the game. We'll get you right back to it. But we're still watching this very heavy storm. And I'll let you know we have a lot of folks here that are not getting any weather today at all except warm 80s, okay? So it's a pretty good day overall, but we've had these trouble spots up here to the north. It started earlier today with a big knuckleball of thunderstorm rotating winds over the Putnam County area. Putnam County Sheriff out there investigating. They could have had a brief touchdown there. That moved offshore near Palm Coast. We've stopped the race in Daytona right now, the red flag, as we're waiting for the track to dry. Still watching showers moving on through there. If you're watching us trying to find out when the race is going to start back up again, we've got at least another hour or so, some on and off rain near the track, and then hopefully we will quiet things down after that since the atmosphere has begun to cool. But we're still watching this as we pan to the south, this tornado warning, and it is now south of New Smyrna Beach, and we're getting lots of that little guy right there. Also a little cell. Let's watch the cell near Oak Hill down here to the south. It's got a little more in the way of some mid-level rotation there near Oak Hill, near Scottsmore. So on the southern flank here, that's where it's getting all that unobstructed warm air coming in from the south. Here's Scottsmore, south of Oak Hill. So yeah, we're using some of the wind speeds inside the storm. Right over by Turnbull and Scottsmore, that little red notch with the green around it, that is going to be some turbulence if nothing else. But we could very easily get a small EF0 tornado popping out of this at any time. Right over Scottsmore, right over by Turnbull. So moving in toward the Shiloh area, Allenhurst. Fortunately, this is kind of a very rural area. It's part of northern parts of Brevard County where they don't have a lot of settlements. Not that many folks over here. It's kind of government property to the north. But we're still watching this Scottsmore area, I-95. If we do have any more DOT cams right along I-95, that would be between, say, New Smyrna Beach and south toward Titusville. If we find anything there, we can pass along, because a lot of folks are going to be traveling home from the Speedway here since they have stopped the race for the moment. Here's Oak Hill and into Scottsmore. And, yeah, we're getting some little tornado icons. Going to put it back on meso path, Brian, if you will. And let's see what the meso is showing on these. Yeah, right through here. Go ahead and click on that bottom one there near Scottsmore, just south of the OTT in Scottsmore. And there you can see that's where we have rotation showing up right over the Scottsmore and the Mims area. That is moving east now. You have it on meso? You on cell path?
Pop up that FDOT. Where's this? This Seminole Volusia County line? We have a camera to go to. You guys could go ahead and pop
Go
that
ahead and pop it up there. There we go. There's I-4 at 1792. So certainly some wet streets right through there. But let me go ahead and track this particular storm right over. Go ahead and put it on meso path, if you would there, George. And that'll show us the central part of that storm. Let's go back and show you the radar right here. We're watching this cell right over Scottsmore. And that probably should have at least a 3.5 or 4 meso indicator on it right there. So we're going to keep very close tabs as we scan around in the Scottsmore area. So north of Mims, we could very easily have a tornado on the ground here south of Scottsmore. We're also watching this cell that just kicked out of Sanford. That's just heavy rain. I'm not worried about that. That's probably just heavy rain. I'm not too concerned about Geneva at this point as far as a tornado, but I am watching very carefully this cell near Scottsmore, north of Mims. It's showing some increasing amounts of rotation as it approaches the sea breeze environment here along the coast. So the Dummit Grove area used to be a large orange grove. Right now, just a spot on the map, essentially. Allenhurst, Shiloh, and Mims. So in this area, take your tornado precautions. Lots of rural areas, lots of folks out on the roads. If you do have to get out and about along I-95, northern Brevard, southern Volusia, hold back if you can on your trip for about another half hour or so. Let some of this heaviest weather slide on by. But here, Oak Hill, there's Florida Highway 3. Again, this is all rural property north of Merritt Island, but certainly some potential of tornadoes in this particular vicinity. This is kind of our technology we're looking at. Lots of shear in this area near Scottsmore in toward the Turnbull area, and we're also getting some little hail signature. We can slice through this 20 to 30,000 feet. So pretty tall storm, not as tall as the cell was over Sanford. So you're probably getting some, say, pea-size hail potential out of this particular storm cell. And that cell right there, as we kind of do our little slice. We're doing this live on the fly right here. Oak Hill down to Shiloh. We'll slice through this one more time, and we'll take a look at the inflow coming into that storm right through here. This is the wind rushing up into the upper atmosphere coming in from the surface. So if we do have anything hitting the ground, it's going to be right over in this area where we have that condensation hitting the ground. So still keeping a close tab on all the cells. Also back over Geneva, George.
Yeah, and we're starting to get a new thunderstorm developing in Sanford. So if you're watching us from Sanford or Lake Mary, you had the original thunderstorm that prompted the tornado warning, which is now north of Geneva. That has already passed Sanford, and it has weakened considerably. Now, still some very heavy rain here, though, but still we continue with another batch of heavy rain across Sanford. This is another thunderstorm that has moved in. But the big guy in town, we'll track that in a second, the new thunderstorm over Sanford. Let me step out of the way so you can see it here. This one tracking east now around 30 to 40 miles per hour. Indian Mountain Village in around 5 minutes. Eventually in Geneva, probably in around 15 to 20 minutes, and then farther into southern Volusia County. So we are tracking a brand new strong thunderstorm that developed over Sanford, and this will continue to push to the east. The strong thunderstorm right now near Scottsmore. This is the biggest guy in town.
That marshy area there.
Yeah, right. Just north of Mims and south of Shiloh. This has crossed over I-95. We're seeing some signs of some rotation here, most likely broad rotation, but there is the potential, though, that we could have some low-level rotation as this eventually pushes offshore in the next probably 10 to 15 minutes. This now is a look at the reflectivities. Basically, the darker the color, the more intense the rainfall. When you're starting to see purple, that's a good indication that we're seeing hail here. So most likely some quarter or penny-sized hail here up towards Scottsmore. And a quick scan on the velocity now. Greens indicate the raindrops within the wind going one direction, red the other. So when you see them paired up like this, this is an indication of rotation. This most likely a broad rotation as the storm is pushing east of Scottsmore. But again, we're looking at an elevated slice through the thunderstorm. So closer to ground level, there could still be some rotation here. Hence the tornado warning goes on, and this is one of the reasons this thunderstorm is now pushing will be pushing across the Banana River soon. Sanford, again, looking at the rain pushing through right here. This was the original thunderstorm that prompted the tornado warning. Now has weakened slightly, but still some intense rainfall in here. Up and down I-95 toward New Smyrna Beach. Heavy rain right now, but the convection has at least waned a little bit in this vicinity. Also notice Daytona Beach. We earlier had a tornado warning for Daytona Beach. That has been allowed to expire, but there's still light rain as we wait for the race to go back, or to kick back in, right?
That's
we need that race to finish, but that'll be later.
Yeah, I want to show you, thanks, George, just using our live Doppler 9 HD, I've been kind of zooming in behind the scenes here and just got an update. We're still seeing quite a bit of rotation right near Geneva, and this is going to be the strongest rotation we have now. It's just south of Scottsmore. Weather Service still continuing to detect what we're detecting here, a potential tornado right over Geneva near Mullet Lake Park, moving east at 30 miles an hour. So, Brian, we'll do a storm track on this cell near the Geneva area, then we'll kick on over towards Scottsmore here in just a minute. But right in the Geneva area, make sure you're, again, inside and away from windows. This has been a batch of several rotating thunderstorms that could produce a tornado pretty much at any time. And it's right over Geneva. That little cell has lots of reflectivity. Brian, I was looking at that earlier. It's got lots of lightning with it also. But Geneva, and then the second cell that's right over the Scottsmore area. So there's several places, including the Lake Harney area, the Arancia area, Scottsmore. That's that cell near that we're watching right now. Here's Railroad Street and US 1. So certainly some strong rotation out of this cell. If you're just joining us on Channel 9, we are going to we're covering up some of the halftime of the basketball game. You won't miss any of the game itself. The storms are moving quickly. They're still red flag in Daytona. The rain stopped the race, I believe, lap 38. Still waiting for that rain to move out. These cells are getting into some rural area here north of Mims, but that's all under a tornado warning until 5:15. And still lots of active weather back here to the west. George, let's focus on this Geneva storm. And Brian, you got an update?
Yeah, we have some new pictures coming in thank you for setting in the pictures on the damage and some of the hail reports coming in. If we could pop those up. This from Twitter, and you can see some of the hail that we've been dealing with. And again, right where we were talking about earlier.
Severe hail there. That's
over toward Sanford. That's why these warnings were prompted along with the rotation we're seeing. You can see we're using hashtag StormTrack9. It makes sense. We're on Channel 9, and we are tracking some of these storms for you. And again, you can see now up there, I'm not so sure about this. This is going around on social media. I've seen this a few times. What it is up toward the Speedway.
That could have been a real heavy rain shaft right there.
Yeah,
it's hard to tell unless you see it rotate.
That's way in the distance. So that picture you're seeing coming out of Daytona Beach right over the speedway is not necessarily what was a tornado. That's just a very, very distant shot, and you get a lot of scud clouds on this, which are kind of low clouds around. So thank you for the reports coming in on social media. We'll continue to monitor those. Again, hashtag StormTrack9.
All right, thanks a lot, Brian. Still watching this cell over Osceola Road.